Contrarians, welcome back to the Encrypted Capital Recap for Tuesday, May 10th. First off, as you guys probably already know, we've had a massive sell-off in Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market as a whole, and now we're starting to see massive fear articles come out. Just a recent quick Bitcoin news search will tell you, 40% of Bitcoin investors are now underwater. Bitcoin's price is now 50% from its peak. Stock market and Bitcoin keep crashing, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of fear going on, but we are seeing some of these cryptocurrencies at support. We actually put out in our newsletter yesterday that we were buying XRP at 50.5 cents, and we had a tight stop loss. And actually, I'll pull it up for you guys right here so you guys can see. So this was our trade update that we sent out to members yesterday. We mentioned that we were adding to our position at 50.5 cents with a tight stop loss. And we actually dipped slightly below that, about 48 cents or so. A type stop loss for us is about 10%. So that would have taken us to roughly 45.5 cents, which it did not hit. So we did not get stopped out. And as of right now, we are starting to see a little bit of positive price movement in XRP. Let's go back to the chart here. So as you guys can see, we're trading at about 52.2 cents. We also got some top gainers going on over here. If we go ahead and look, we can see that unfortunately SHIB is leading the market right now, along with One Ledger, and we got Wi-Fi up there to 15%. DENT's looking pretty good, up 13.38%. But you guys got to think, I know DENT was trading at roughly 0.0038, so essentially double of where it's at now. So we've had a 50% slip in some of these assets, and you can tell that, I know DENT especially, definitely trading at support here. Let's go to the daily and we'll zoom out here a little bit, and you can see, let's drop this down. Yeah, you're tapping old lows from back in July, and now the question is, are we going to go ahead and see some positive price action, or do we still have a lot of selling? And I tend to think that given this huge level of support right here, and we're seeing that in a lot of these assets, I would have to think that we will start seeing some positive price action. This is a completely different cycle than what we saw last time. And a lot of people did get wrong-footed thinking that December was going to be another crazy run-up. And sure enough, it happened to be the exact opposite. And so now it's, this has always been a long-term play for us. We know that the people that have made the most money in these markets, including ourselves, are the ones that are able to hold through the crazy 80% corrections. This is nothing new in these markets. And now you're starting to see a lot of people turn bearish. And when a lot of the market starts to turn bearish, that's when we like to turn bullish, right? So we'll have to see how these things play out here. I want to also go ahead and take a look here at the SPX, because as we know, this is really tied to the stock market. And we also sent out in our newsletter a price point that we were looking at the S&P to hold. And this is a counter trend line that we sent out the other day. And so really, if we can get back above this counter trend line here, I'll pull this more into view. If we can hold this, we should see Bitcoin and altcoins react positively. So right now, you're looking at roughly 40.71 for the SPY, and we're at 40.25, so we're not too far away from that. So let's see what else we got going on here. Again, more FUD, a lot more news coming out. Bitcoin briefly slips below 30K. Why cryptos are at risk for more losses is coming from barons. And so we always like to do the exact opposite of what the mainstream is putting out. Again, 40% of Bitcoin investors are now underwater. Can the cryptocurrency bounce back? All coming out today, a lot of the stuff coming out at support. And so now it's just going to be a waiting game. Are we going to have to wait slightly longer to get, this alt season that we've all kind of been waiting for? And we got glimpses of it last year. We did see, basically through January through April of 2021 was very, very good for altcoins. And a lot of those did do 8 to 12x. And while that's not typically what you see in a crazy alt season blow off top, that could have been considered one of the first waves for altcoins. So now are we getting an extended cycle? We're clearly getting an extended cycle in our opinion, because now we're about 5 months out from where we thought that last cycle was going to end. So Now it's just going to really be a waiting game. And a lot of this stuff that's coming down the pipeline here, we saw that UST stablecoin. This was Terra Luna yesterday. This is pegged to the dollar, right? So Luna market cap falls below UST's, right? So it says the development comes after the Luna Foundation Guard announced that its massive Bitcoin reserves will be used to defend UST's dollar peg. So essentially what happened here was a stable coin that was supposed to be pegged to the dollar ended up dropping to, I believe it was 60 cents or so. And yeah, 65 cents, there it is. So falling to 65 cents yesterday, and this helped to aid the massive sell-off. You know, when these stable coins start losing their peg to the dollar, that's definitely a red flag, and that's going to impact the market negatively. So it's kind of been a culmination of a lot of these different events here, kind of all showing up at the same time to really push prices down. And in our opinion, I mean, that's just a good excuse to go ahead and manipulate markets here. I don't know if I have Luna up here on the charts. Let's take a look. I believe I did. And so now you have a great excuse to go ahead and push the price down. I mean, you guys can go ahead and see it's actually pretty similar to Bitcoin in the fact that you had that initial rise up here to an high, came back down, tested support level, broke above higher, got all the longs in this region here, and then it turned over on itself. And now you're looking at, if you were in the know and you're able to put a short in here just above the previous high, so it went from 102, past it up to about 118 or so. You put in your short here, and now you're able to ride that all the way down. I mean, you're looking at what? 5x in money, 500% gain, especially if you're trading on margin, which obviously we don't advise. But, you know, if you're in the know and you're able to go ahead and take these leverage positions, even if it's a small leverage position of, you know, one or, you know, let's say like 1.5, 2.5x of what you currently have, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that could go from a 5x play to a 10x play rather quickly. And if you're playing with a large sum of money, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, made an absolute killing here. So now, because it came down and touched support perfectly, I would be looking to enter, if I saw that happen, when the max fear event takes place, $23, I'd be looking to add to my positions here and then have a nice tight stop loss shortly below that, because the risk is minimal to go ahead and take that trade when it's fallen that far. I mean, the total move in just a couple days, you're talking a 70% move, and the total move from the very top here, you know, 79, 80% loss. You're probably definitely going to get some sort of dead cat bounce up into this region here, you know, probably 45. You probably have an easy 100% play here. It wouldn't surprise me. A lot of the times you see 100% move and then it'll turn back over on itself, or it'll consolidate for a little bit more. But I would have to anticipate that that probably could happen for Luna, seeing as you had so much selling taking place. I mean, look at that volume bar right there. So things to be mindful of. This is why it's a long-term play for us. You don't want to get caught up in the day trades. You kind of just want to add to your positions, dollar cost average, and hold these things for as long as you can until you start getting a profit. So whether it takes a year or 3 years, the guys that I know that have made a lot of money in this space, you're talking holding something for 8 to 10 years and not taking anything on the ride up. So that's kind of how you guys got to play it. You got to figure out if you're going to be a trader or an investor. And in my opinion, our case, you're going to make a lot more money if you're able to hold out through the crazy volatility and have these positions play out for you over the course of years, not months. It's very, very hard to time these markets. Take it from somebody who's been doing this for, you know, upwards of 8 to 10 years now at this point. Also, we got Bitcoin price gains 4% pre-Fed as MicroStrategy vows to protect Bitcoin from 21K crash. This was published on May 4th, okay? And essentially what was said here by Michael Saylor is that they would do what they could to keep Bitcoin from falling past 21K because of the money that they're borrowing, and when they would get margin called, they essentially would be able to go ahead and never let it get to 21K. It says MicroStrategy plans for Bitcoin to never get to 21K. It says elsewhere, amid growing calls for capitulation style event to put in a fresh macro bottom on BTC USD, contingency plans were also becoming conspicuously more vocal. MicroStrategy, the company with the world's largest Bitcoin corporate treasury, went as far as to say that it would buy up its Bitcoin buys in such a scenario. Speaking on its Q1 earnings calls, Fong Lei, the firm's president and chief financial officer, also revealed the conditions under which it would receive a margin call on its Bitcoin collateralized loan. He said, as far as where Bitcoin needs to fall, we took out the loan at 25% LTV. The margin call occurs at 50% loan to, I believe that's loan to value. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's loan to value. So essentially, Bitcoin needs to get cut in half, or around 21,000 before we'd have a margin call. There's no way they're going to let that happen, and there's no way that they can say that they would keep the price pumped up at 21K. I mean, you have so many other people in the market. It's not just MicroStrategy that runs Bitcoin. Yeah, they have a large position, but you also got to consider, you have the Gemini twins, the Silberts, the Grayscales, the digital currency groups, the Galaxy Digitals, all these other big players from the markets too. And yeah, they probably can coordinate some buys and sells, and I'm sure they do that all the time, especially with the big players like Goldman Sachs involved in the markets now, Circle, even the Fed has their own trading desk, right? So you have all of these big players in the market, and to go ahead and say that they'd basically be propping up and wouldn't let Bitcoin get to 21K, I think is very irresponsible, it's very misleading, and it's absolutely insane, because I can guarantee you that they would go ahead and sell well before they had anywhere close to getting a margin call. So keep that in mind. As mentioned, having the contrarian mindset, not following what the billionaires say, can prove to be very, very beneficial. I mean, even counter trading guys like BitBoy Crypto and Jim Cramer, when he was talking about Ethereum and buying it, and then it fell on its face like another 20%. All these guys are here to mislead you so they can get you to buy what they're selling. So keep that in mind. You got to have a long-term view for cryptocurrencies. This isn't just a get-rich-quick scheme and you're in and out of the markets in 6 months. If you're able to play it like that, great. You got lucky. You're 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 if you're able to play it like that. Most people have very, very hard time timing the market, and it's just not how you want to play this if you're trying to maintain your capital. You have to be able to allow time to let this stuff grow. You have to nurture it. You can't just be expecting to make all this money over the course of a year, because I can guarantee you're never going to buy at the right time, and you're never going to sell at the right time. And if you do, it's just pure luck, plain and simple. So with that being said, I think that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Encrypted Capital Recap. If you guys like what you heard, please drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. Great way to support the channel. We got the free version and the paid version. So we'll catch you guys in the next video.